Welcome to the Ramu Talk Show, a platform where we celebrate individuals whose professional journeys and personal stories are both inspiring and illuminating. Today, we are privileged to host Professor Ramesh Mehta, a distinguished management consultant known for steering numerous corporate turnarounds in India and as well as abroad. His exceptional contributions and deep insights have earned him the rare honor of being appointed Professor Emeritus by several leading management institutions purely on the strength of his work. A lifelong student of business successes as well as failures, Professor Mehta has helped generations of management students and professionals to understand the full spectrum of organizational behavior. His guiding philosophy is study both triumphs and setbacks. Each has lessons to offer. We are delighted to have you with us today, sir. Thank you for joining us. From engineering to management, tell us about your early journey from IIT Kharagpur to Colorado and then to Texas. How did it all begin?
I went to IIT Kharagpur and graduated when it was the only IIT in the country. And it was just to be admitted to Kharagpur was a privilege. Number of people had been abroad, and once I graduated and applied to Colorado School of Mines in petroleum engineering, that was an area which I wanted to get into. I got admission at Colorado School of Mines and was admitted into petroleum engineering. It was a 2-year course, and I did well in that, well enough so that Mobil was interested in me. And Mobil Oil Company took me in as a management trainee from there, I had worked, they made me work in various capacities in the company, and gave me a broad foundation in various areas, It was nice, and I did well in that area. I was managing 6-7 oil fields from beginning till end, their production, their growth and all, and it was great. Enjoyed it. I became a sort of a scholar in that area, where producing, developing and expanding production became my expertise,
I see.
And I got a lot of confidence there,
At what point did you actually realize that engineering wasn't your true calling, and what inspired you to return to academia?
It was nice at Mobil Oil Company. I learned a lot. But as time went on, I saw that I can't go very far with what I had. I was too specialized and basically knew production side but had no inkling in terms of management. And I felt that to get ahead and not be cornered in engineering, I had to do an MBA. So I applied at Harvard and I applied at Stanford. These are the only 2 institutions that I applied at. And I had a lot of financial backing from the banks and all, which helped in Harvard accepting me. And Harvard at that time was an institute of such repute that people were literally clamoring there, and to get admission was good, for me, and I enjoyed it. Having got the admission, I decided that let me just go home and before I start my actual engineering.
I see. During your time at Harvard, you shared your time with some of the celebrity names like P. Chidambaram and T.N. Seshan being among them. Could you share a few memories of your interactions with them?
At Harvard, there were very few Indians that were taken, and each section had about one. So totally, we were 3 or 4 Indians. Chidambaram had come there from family funding, and wanted to get a stamp mark from Harvard and return back to his own resources. Another person who was there was T.N. Seshan. Seshan had come as a civil servant. Civil servants are brought to Harvard to get training in management and all. So as an election commissioner, he came there and studied there. And we were together in that area place where we met together and all, and exchanged a lot of thoughts. And as it turns out, T.N. Seshan was primarily interested in working on my wife so that I returned to India, and was very keen on making sure that happens. Chidambaram was more interested in clearing the MBA so that he gets a stamp. And it was nice, I think, the group together and all, and we enjoyed it and we learned a lot in this process.
During that time in Harvard, you also got married to a girl from your Gujarati community in Kolkata. How did that come about?
I basically come from Calcutta. Although we are Gujaratis and all, we have been born and brought up in Calcutta. And Hemi was the girl next door. And I think from the very beginning, my family had more or less identified her as the girl that they wanted.
That's very interesting.
And we also, after meeting and all, decided to get married, And it was good. Before my Harvard days, I had sorted that out.
Even though you wanted to move away from engineering, your work at Mobile and Atlantic Richfield drew you back into it. So what was that experience like?
It was a great experience, really, in the sense that when I graduated from Harvard, I was the only one who had a strong engineering background with management combination. And the salary that I got was probably the highest that you could get as a graduate amongst all the people that were there. And I was recruited by Atlantic Richfield Company, which had a major discovery in Alaska, and was paid well, and given strong responsibility in the corporate planning department, So that did well.
During that time, how did the racial climate affect your professional life, if at all there was any impact?
It was good. When I made presentations and all, I enjoyed making board presentations for Atlantic Richfield. I prepared strategies and put it before the board. And I more or less was carrying the corporate planning department and the corporate strategy of the company. This responsibility was good, and it worked very well in terms of what I offered them. But it could be seen, I could notice it the first time I went to make a presentation. There was pin drop silence in the room, and the looks was, what is this brown screen doing in this area, And my brown skin, but somehow I was so deeply woven into my work that I saw it and decided I'd not see it, And it didn't affect me that much. But as time went on, as I worked in planning and all, and I came forward, I trained certain people, and the promotions that came passed me by. I wasn't offered those promotions and all, and I suddenly realized that U.S. is not the place for me. We just felt as if we have to find success somewhere else.
I see.
And it was unnerving.
We understand the Ford Foundation invited you to return to India. What was their vision in bringing professionals like you back to India, and what was your role in Delhi?
It was while I was in this dilemma of wanting to, not happy with being in US. I saw in the London Economist an advertisements which looked for Indians wanting to return to India, And it was a sponsor to bring back qualified Indians to India. They advertised and got nominations and all from all over. They were shortlisted, and one gentleman was picked up from Chicago, and I was the second one. We were interviewed in New York City, and finally offered this opportunity to return to India. They would pack up all my baggages and everything, pay me everything that I needed, and brought me to Delhi. It was in a way, it was a great honor to be selected like this. But more than that, it was an opportunity that we got, which probably wouldn't have changed my life as much as it did, really. So Ford Foundation was a great event in my life.
What was the role like? Was it on the management side or to contribute back in engineering technical field?
Well, I think it was in the interview that they were trying to find out. And basically the whole idea was that whatever learning that we had accumulated during our stay here, we could ship it back to India and create something in the process. That was the basic intention,
Okay. During your Ford Foundation years, which companies did you help transform in terms of corporate culture and management style? In fact, linked to this question, I would also like to ask you, how did you think the management culture of the Americans could be adopted or fitted into the Indian scene?
Well, I think basically the ability to recognize successes and failures, and I think it has no national boundaries, really. It has no national boundaries. And I think we were, while there, I think at Ford Foundation, we were basically, I was brought in to help family planning.
Oh, I see.
The whole idea was that here is an expertise and let us give it to the government. Family planning was a big thing.
Yes.
And I was basically given a task of propagating family planning into India. And what happened is I did an analysis, thorough, detailed analysis of how each state was behaving in family planning, and made a government presentation where I showed how this part of India is doing well and the other part is not doing well. And I got them to analyze why something is happening in India in one place and not happening in another. And that family planning and the presentations that I made created an interest in terms of how management management education, if brought into government,
Excellent.
could really increase policy improvements, And I showed it to them, And that was probably my major achievement there.
Yeah, it's very interesting to hear that a person educated as an engineer initially and then going into management and then applying those principles into an area such as family planning. It's very interesting. Your work success even took you to Srinagar, where you helped improve the J&K's timber-based revenues. Tell us about that remarkable chapter.
So basically my success in family planning was my ability to liven up the government and get something out of it. And while I did this, some of my presentations, a chief secretary was present there, who then was transferred to Srinagar, and he was placed in Srinagar. And because of my exposure with him earlier, he called me to Srinagar and said, Ramesh, look here, we spend so much money on Kashmir, so much of our funds go there, and it's a drain. It is a drain on the Indian society, and I feel that there is something that we can do here. He said, Srinagar, Kashmir has apples, and Kashmir has logs, wood.
Yes.
If any of these two items, if I can get something out of it, it will be great. So I was we studied it, and we picked logging. And we said we would like to take this up, I spent 2 to 3 years in Srinagar with my family, staying in this government guest houses and all that. My children grew up over there, and we picked this up. Basically, we prepared the flow chart of how wood was coming in and where it is going, and the flow in terms with which it works. And we decided that and they gave us a blank check. So wherever government officials were, we were able to transfer, move officials, etc. And finally, what we did is that we bought 30 trucks in black market in Chandigarh and collected them and brought them into the system and created a flow. Our effort of 2.5 years resulted in a revenue of 1.5 crores in Srinagar, in Kashmir, and they were literally thrilled and unbelievable. And we set it up in a way in which it could then work by itself to create that revenue.
That's a phenomenal story, indeed. Later, you also served as an advisor to the Commonwealth Organization, which took you to Dar es Salaam, and you helped them in their cashew and peanut business. What was professional and cultural life in Tanzania like?
The chief secretary who was there in Srinagar got transferred and moved to London in the Commonwealth Secretariat. And he became a very senior person in the Commonwealth Secretariat, where it is called CFTC, Commonwealth Fund, that was there. And he got funds so that he could do things. He picked us as consultants because he knew us. He picked us as consultants and told us to go to Dar es Salaam and improve their production. Dar es Salaam, Tanzania basically has peanuts, they have cloves, and they have one more, I guess. The 3 items which were there, which were the backbone of the country, Cashew. So these were the 3 that were the backbone of the country. Yes. It did extremely well. They had the resources, but it was not earning anything for them. they were so short of foreign exchange, no foreign exchange was available, and the country was not doing well. We studied each of these items and grew them, whereby not only did they have a better market, but also a lot of foreign exchange came into the country. And those years in Dar es Salaam, you'll be surprised, both my children came in over there and had to go to an international school.
Okay.
And study with all foreigners and other people there, We also in Dar es Salaam had Dar es Salaam was very sort of conservative country, and all. And my children, as they grew up, there was shortage of bread.
Oh, I see.
And my kids would line up to collect bread.
I see.
There was shortage of milk, where we could get milk only once a week, and we got a whole bucket full of milk in that day. And my wife had to manage that bucket of water for 10 days, These are the adventures that we had in terms of trying to settle down. While on one hand, I was doing something that I had to do, but my family was growing up into things that I was feeling very guilty at what was going on and how miserable a life I was. But my kids were happy, My kids were happy. While they were in the American school, they were able to learn swimming, they learned sports, they learned to mix with different people.
I'm sure it must have been an extremely interesting
learning experience for my family. But then my wife literally was working out at home, trying to make our living, So great experience.
After living in Tanzania for 3 years, you moved back to India and began an independent consultancy organization. This led you to your association with IMI, International Management Institute in New Delhi. While at IMI as Professor Emeritus, you worked with executives of large organizations like ONGC, DCM, and Coal India. Especially tell us about your ONGC related work.
While I was there at IMI, I came into IMI with an idea of trying to really get business interested, And while there, because of the situation in which I was, the chief executive of ONGC heard about me and called me. And at that time, there was a major discovery offshore in Bombay, and a lot of oil was discovered. And ONGC is a state company of Dehradun, and here was a gold mine that they had, and he wanted to develop that company, And he picked me up. I spent 2 to 3 years with the chief executive of ONGC, traveled all over their production, and recommended a type of organization. First, I said, move your headquarters to Bombay. And from Dehradun, we moved to Bombay and established ourselves in Bombay. And then from there, I helped them design how to produce and how to grow and get maximum oil out of the ground, And in this 2.5 years, it was a total layout of what is to be done. I had done this in Mobile and others. So for me, there was nothing new in it, but it was a major contribution in terms of revenues, foreign exchange that came in, and getting the most out of that discovery. I felt great about it. But once I had completed everything, uh, he took all my reports and all that and all and said, Ramesh, we haven't met, you know. You just go and don't talk about this with anybody.
Oh, I see.
And let me do this my way, you know. My report was submitted, and I walked away from there, you know.
Oh, I see.
This was a great experience, and just few years later, T.N. Session became the head of ONGC, the oil industry, and met me, and he knew I had worked on it. He asked me for my report. I said, you can't get my report. He said, it is confidential, and as a professional, I won't give it to anybody. It is for you to, yes, there was a report. It is for you to find it and do whatever, but it cannot come from me, you know. But it was a great situation whereby that is an opportunity I got when I was there, you know. Similarly, DCM was growing and had plans. I helped them at the board level, and Shriram Fibers was another one. HMT was having a lot of problems with his watches,
Yes.
while the watch business was dwindling away,
Yes.
which was their bread and butter of HMT. How to revive a company with a product which is more or less dead, you know. And I was instrumental in trying to make them weed away into tools and machine tools.
Right.
And they grew that and concentrated the resources in that one, and left the basic business out and let it die, basically, because they just couldn't compete with the Tata, the watches that were
Yes,
coming
yes,
out,
Titan.
Titan,
Yes.
Titan and others, you know. So that was another great experience that I
I'm keen
had.
to know, I'm keen to ask you, how did you find the management of a public sector company? Were they receptive to the kind of ideas and plans that you were drawing up for them?
It just happens that it's a good question, you know. It is if you have something to offer, as my experience of family planning and others showed, you know, public sector company, if they see something that is there is a lot that they can do if they recognize an opportunity. My role was, whenever I worked with public sector companies, my role was to convince them. I worked at the board level first. I worked at the board level and clearly showed the things that can be done. And when they see value, and they see value creation and what it is doing, I was able to at least have a dialogue at the top level. And I was able to go from top down into the organizations.
I see. This period in Delhi came in handy for your children to complete schooling. How did your family settle themselves in Delhi?
My children enjoyed, I guess, Delhi.
Especially after their stays abroad in Tanzania and other places.
See, one of them got in Chanakyapuri and another one went to Air Force schools.
Oh, I see.
And they got admission into those schools. And the aim was basically to complete 12th.
I see.
And once I was able to get them into the best schools that I could, I think they put their heart and soul into it, you know, because each of them were after a career, and with my background, you know, I was trying to get them to have a plan. So up to 12th, it was fine, and my whole agenda was to be there in Delhi up to 12th.
I see.
And that's how it worked.
Later, you moved to Indian Institute of Management in Bangalore, encouraged by Professor K.R.S. Murthy, who himself was a PhD from Harvard, you became the BEL chair for the Executive Development Program. How did the transition unfold, and what challenges did you face, considering that BEL again was public sector?
It was Murthy, K.R.S. Murthy was a PhD from Harvard. And he, as soon as he found out from the records that one MBA is moving in, he located me in Delhi and began, while I was at Ford Foundation and all, began canvassing, literally pitched his tent over there and made sure that he would walk with me in the Lodi Gardens and he would have the dreams that he has and how I could be a part of it and all that, you know. So he did major canvassing, and since my kids were going to, I told them until and unless they finish 12th, I'm doing nothing, you know. So the day the 12th exam was completed, there he was again, you know, and he had made all arrangements for admissions for them in Bangalore, and he had arranged for everything, and he said, come to Bangalore, and your agenda is bring business into the MBA program. That basically was my agenda.
And was this in the 90s or post 2000?
It was, well, let me see, I think I'm not exactly sure, but I came, before retirement, I had about 6 years, so I retired, I would say, somewhere in the, I just don't remember I don't remember the exact timings really, but it was basically when I was in there, and I located basically the people that I wanted in this area, but it was a genuine thing, and we moved to Bangalore, and he gave me a blank check.
Okay. Okay. While designing the Executive Development Program at IIM Bangalore, you had the opportunity to work with Reliance and HMT to train their executives to hone their business skills. You built leadership teams to work with business focus. Mm-hmm. Tell us about this company-focused approach to academic learning.
Basically, at that time, one of the companies, that is a German company, I'm trying to remember the name.
BFW?
No, German company. The German company was doing MBA programs and doing it specifically from Ahmedabad. And they saw that the Ahmedabad training program did nothing for them. Okay, so he decided that he will not do this. When I heard it, I told them that I would like to do your program. I'll do it my way, but and not charge you anything. Unless you find value on it, don't make me any payments. Without payments, I'm willing to work for you. But you should give me a blank check in terms of how I manage the programs. Mm-hmm. I selected a set of 12 executives, and then these 12 executives were asked to bring their experiences, their company problems into the classrooms. We brought the company problems into the classrooms. They discussed the company problems and all, and made strategies out of it, what they wanted to do. And they made a presentation. The board of directors came for the presentations, and they saw that how problems were identified and how solutions were created. And they were literally thrilled. They just couldn't believe that. And they said, okay, now all these guys will implement what they have got there. And they implemented it. So by the time I finished it, they had a package of problem identified, everything done, and the executives were literally thrilled. He gave us a blank check in terms of, he says, every year I'll give you people, and you do continuously programs for my executives.
I'm absolutely amazed at this, especially for such a thing to happen in public sector organizations.
This wasn't a public sector. This was a German company.
Oh, I see.
This was a German company which did it. And after them, when they saw it, ITI came, and ITI wanted to do it. Then Bank of Baroda came, and Bank of Baroda wanted to do it. So at one time, I had 3 batches of executives there from 3 different places, each of them. So literally, there was a separate place for executive education, and the revenue that this executive education brought was much more than the MBA learnings that were there. And it was the tail that was wagging the dog, really. We did really well, so well that they were literally amazed that what can be achieved through a series of 3 programs running simultaneously.
You were also closely associated with the renowned management thinker Henry Mintzberg. By his prompting, you developed a global MBA program focusing on Japanese, Korean, and Indian corporate executives. Tell us how you managed this multinational cultures in a business environment while training these executives.
Well, as I said, I was doing those 3 MBA programs, and basically I was making company executives bring company problems and solve them. This concept Henry saw, and he said he thought that he could have his own business really of programs. So he brought he created with him and me, we created a program where Hitotsubashi University in Japan, McGill in Canada, India, IIM Bangalore, and Lancaster University. 4 universities came together, and each of them brought participants from their country, and we created, each which was required to have a table. So we would have a table for 4 companies all over, and their executives would do programs, So that thing was done globally throughout, and we created a global MBA, which was one of the most phenomenal things, and it strengthened the management institution at Hitotsubashi, the French ones and the McGill ones. All of them got strengthened, and Lancaster got strengthened. So it was
Quite amazing. After retiring from IIM Bangalore, you were invited to serve as a professor emeritus at Lancaster University in UK. How did this happen, and how did this new phase enhance your professional life?
There was this, you had to retire at a certain age in management education, in education in our country, and I had to retire when I reached 60 and all, and had to retire from IIM. And once I retired, I completed all these programs, handed it over, and was vacationing in US and with my children, when suddenly I get a call from Lancaster and said, Ramesh, on your way back, would you stop in at Lancaster for a while? So I just dropped by there, and they said, what you have done in IIM Bangalore, bring a corporates into the country, into the company MBA program, do that in Lancaster.
I see.
Do that in Lancaster. So Lancaster, I had already retired as a professor and all that and all. So they couldn't bring me in, and they have all these rules about PhDs and all that,
Yes.
So they gave me this Professor Emeritus title and brought me into Lancaster. 7 years I spent in Lancaster. helping them with education of European countries and all. We conducted programs and did phenomenal job really. Again, for the family, it was just to live there in Lancaster, was big thing, and also we had a great time really, but did a lot of solid work in terms of creating education with funds provided by EEC.
Coming to your family, this globetrotting must have had an impact on your whole family. We understand you moved home over 50 times across 3 continents. Tell us how your wife and children coped with this.
You see, I had about 40 addresses. In fact, mailing addresses. And in Bangalore itself, I have had 6 or 7 mailing addresses, while I lived in Bangalore. Each mailing, each time we packed, my wife packed and unpacked, packed and unpacked. She is an expert at packing and unpacking. And
possibly she could earn an MBA in packing.
Yeah, so it was a phenomenal thing, But it taught me one thing: in life, you can't clap with one hand.
True.
You need 2 hands to clap.
Absolutely.
And she has been my 2 hands, the second hand.
Wonderful to hear.
Amount of work that has been done and all. On the sidelines, while I got the laurels and whatever I did, there is a lot behind the scenes.
That's true.
And I feel that success, when you look at it, and failures and all of this is managed when two of them get together.
True. Very true.
It can never be done singly.
True. Professor Mehta ji, it's been an absolute honor to have had you on the Ramu Talk Show. Your journey spanning continents, corporations and classrooms definitely is a true inspiration for younger generations seeking both excellence and purpose. Thank you for sharing your insights and life lessons with us.
Thank you.
This has been the Ramu Talk Show, where we celebrate extraordinary lives that continue to inspire, especially in their silver years. If you'd like to preserve the life stories of your loved ones in their own words, reach out to us at Ramu Talk Show. Together, let's celebrate lives that continue to inspire.